Yes, we're going to dive into why men actually love you deeper when you withhold intimacy from them, physical intimacy from them. Now, I do want to state a disclaimer, a couple disclaimers that one, my position is not rooted in religious doctrine. It is not rooted in social constructs. It's not rooted in patriarchy, which will tell a woman that she is unworthy if she does not withhold physical intimacy from a man. In other words, even if you decide that you do not want to participate in the journey of celibacy, doesn't mean that you're not worthy. That is not what I'm saying. This position, again, is stemming from, number one, I'm an Aquarius sun. I'm coming from a position of science here and logic, probably 70% that, and then 30% spirituality. Okay. So I just want to make sure that you know I'm coming from a non-biased position here. And if it comes across that, I don't think it will, but that's not the intention. And with that being said, let us dive into this. Now, I have been someone who I've had many different versions of myself in terms of intimacy. Sometimes I've been celibate, sometimes not. Currently, it's January 2025. I've been celibate for, it's actually a year this month. And the reason why I made this conscious decision is because I realized that I was at the point in my life where physical intimacy, because I was on a deep healing journey. I still am, but I've been on a deep one, especially for the past 2 years. I started my spiritual awakening 8 years ago. But for the past 2 years, it's been a more intense journey where I've released old patterns and detached myself from old patterns. So that's why I made the decision to be celibate and start on this celibacy journey, and have decided that I wanted to reserve my body for me right now. Now, when I was a Christian, I came from the position of saving myself for a husband. So it was, oh, you need to save yourself for your husband, therefore placing him on a pedestal, okay? It was, no, like you can't, you're not valuable, you're not worthy. And if your husband doesn't see you as valuable or worthy, then you won't get picked, you won't get chosen, you won't be married, okay? But now I've pedestalized myself and put myself in this position of I am the reward regardless, okay? And so a man will have to work really hard because I have placed myself on this pedestal, and I am deeply ingrained in myself. I am involved with myself. I have this deep relationship with myself that I've developed. So it would be extremely, extremely hard for a man to meet those qualifications, okay? So that's my position of celibacy. With all of that being said, let's get into the biological and chemical mechanisms of how women and men fall in love. So shout out to Sandy Kaufman Coaching. Wanted to credit her for this fantastic graphic that she created and that I found on Pinterest, which simply shows the neurotransmitters and hormones that are stimulated by men and women when they fall in love. So first up are the women's neurotransmitters and hormones. Now, first you have dopamine. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter that is stimulated through award, joy, pleasure, presence. So, for example, when you see someone that you're attracted to, when you are texting someone that you're attracted to or you really like. That is the dopamine that's excreted. When you get a text from them, when you get a call from them, you're excited to hear from them. That's that dopamine that's being excreted, okay? The second hormone that's excreted when a woman falls in love is oxytocin. And what stimulates this is presence, tenderness, and her physical intimacy, okay? So when a woman reaches her O, she, unlike a man, has a burst of oxytocin that's released. So that's why when you are physically intimate with a man, you fall in love. He doesn't, because you have a burst of oxytocin that's excreted when you experience pleasure with a man, okay? Or a pleasure period. So those are the only two. You've got the neurotransmitter, that excitement, dopamine right there. And then you've got the hormone oxytocin. When you're cuddling with someone, when you're holding hands with them, when you're hugging them, like all of that is what makes you fall in love with a man. It's literally that simple. It doesn't take that much. So that's why if this is your path, if you decided to take the path to love and committed relationship, whatever, any type of relationship that you want to be rooted in love, then it's important that you know this, because you don't want to get too close to physical too soon. Has nothing to do with you being, a woman of the streets. This is the reason why you want to be mindful. If you want to actually be in love, if you don't want to be all caught up in, hey, why do I love this person? You know what I mean? This is what you have to be mindful of. All right. So now let's get into the neurotransmitters and hormones that a man needs to fall in love. Now, dopamine, again, that neurotransmitter. So award, joy, pleasure, present. So dopamine is excreted for men. For example, they see an attractive woman. Or also, dopamine is excreted when a man comes up to you. Now, if you walk up to a man, he won't excrete as much dopamine, all right? Even if a man says, I want a woman to walk up to me, okay? He won't excrete that much dopamine, so he's less likely to fall in love as deeply at all, to be honest with you. So this is why it's important for a man, if you really want him to love you, again, this is all up to you. You don't have to. Maybe you just want to, one night stand, whatever. But if you want him to actually fall in love with you, it's important that he comes up to you so he can excrete more dopamine, more of that award and joy, at that pleasure neurotransmitter, okay? So that's that one that a man needs. And then he needs two more hormones / neurotransmitters. These ones are hormones, actually. So a man also needs vasopressin. Now, vasopressin is a hormone that it's called the stress hormone, okay? So a man, in order to fall in love with you, needs to be stressed out. Now, how do you stress a man out? You don't do it by yelling at him. That's going to decrease his testosterone, another hormone that he needs. You do it by having him jump through hoops for you, okay? Withholding physical intimacy. Because what happens when a man is physically intimate is his vasopressin, which again, this is the hormone one of the hormones that he needs in order to fall in love, it decreases. So when you fall in love as a woman, you got that burst of oxytocin and you already have dopamine, you're already in love, okay, when you're physically intimate. When a man is physically intimate, His vasopressin, he's got the dopamine, fine. But his vasopressin actually drops after physical intimacy. That's why you'd ever heard of hit it and quit it? That's why. Men hit and quit it because they don't have as much vasopressin, okay, to keep them, or it's lower. So it's like they aren't bonding with you. Vasopressin in a man helps him to bond with you, okay, therefore falling in love with you. So how can you make sure that doesn't happen, whenever you are intimate? Well, you have to build up vasopressin. You have to allow it to build up in a man's system. Okay, so when you're waiting, 2-3 months, whatever the case may be, the longer you're withholding yourself, the longer that vasopressin has time to build up in their body. And then when they build that vasopressin up, it increases the vasopressin receptors, which therefore is going to give him an increased vasopressin. So that way he can bond with you on a deeper level. All right. So then when he is physically intimate with you and his vasopressin levels drop, it's not a big deal. He's got so much built in his system. Okay. He's got a bunch in there. It's fine. Okay. So you've both experienced pleasure. He's in love with you. Another way to build up this stress in a man, vasopressin in a man, is to have him solve problems for you. So you don't give a man a problem. Like if I want a man to take the trash out, therefore having him increase his vasopressin, I don't say, can you take the trash out? You give him a problem, not the solution. And then the stress of it, like, oh, I got to get it done, not from nagging, because the nagging will decrease testosterone. We'll get into that one, another hormone that you need a man needs to bond and fall in love with you. Okay. You don't do that. You say, man, like this trash is so heavy, or like, oh, I hate taking out the trash. Then he jumps into action. You're giving him a problem. He's going to try to figure out how to solve it, and that's going to increase his vasopressin, the stress. Like he's stressed out, not because you're nagging him. Again, that's counterintuitive. It's going to decrease his testosterone, and then he's not going to be in love with you as much. All right. So that is honestly, I believe, I don't know if it's the most important. I think all of them are important because he needs all three. Anyway, the third one, testosterone. All right, third hormone that a man needs to fall in love with you is testosterone. What influences the increase of testosterone? Taking the first steps. Also vasopressin too, because it stresses him out, right? Taking the first step, courting, waiting for it, and fighting for the person. So testosterone, when a man feels manly, it's because of testosterone. Now he needs that increase in remember I was telling you, like, if you nag a man, it decreases his testosterone. That it's the masculinity, right, of a man. So he has that increases testosterone. Now I will say, the longer he's with you, the testosterone decreases. So that's why a lot of times when you're first speaking to a man, when you're first getting to know him and you guys been on a few dates and you start talking and then he pulls away, he's unconsciously pulling away because his testosterone levels have decreased while he's with you. Okay. Now, this is scary for a man unconsciously. So he'll pull away unconsciously so he can increase his testosterone levels again. So don't take it personal when a man pulls away. I mean, sometimes it's because a woman is acting out of desperation unconsciously, and then he'll pull away. But a lot of times a man will pull away because his testosterone, his manly hormone, is decreasing. And it's scary for a man because in the wild in antiquity, when he was hunting, he needed that increase in testosterone so that he could use it for the survival of his family, so he could provide for his family. He couldn't have super low testosterone. He had to have high testosterone so he can go out and because a low testosterone weakens a man, so he can't hunt as effectively. Okay, so that's the science behind that. All right, so when he's in love with you, his testosterone levels are going to decrease. Okay, but they're going to increase at first because it's like, oh, like I'm courting her, I'm doing all, like I feel masculine. When a man provides for you, it increases his testosterone too, and vasopressin. Okay, that's why when stop being independent if you want a man to fall in love with you. It's not going to work. Okay, so this whole 50-50 thing, fine. You want to be 50-50? I don't give a crap. But if you want to be in actual love, if you want a man to actually love you, you're going to have to allow him to do things for you. Because why? You're the prize. He wants to earn you because you're the prize. So he has to do for you. Okay? All of this is why a man loves you. You want to know why Sierra this is my theory, but this is science too. Sierra and Russell Wilson, they decided to not be physically intimate until they were married. Could you imagine the vasopressin, the testosterone, the dopamine of Russell Wilson when he got married to Sierra and when he was falling in love with her? Like, of course he loves her deeply. Like, of course she didn't have to prove anything to him. He had to do all the proving. That is what you see what I'm saying here? She didn't have to do anything but just receive. He had to do all the work because she's the prize. This has nothing to do with her not being worthy. She is worthy, which is why he had to do all this work for her. Okay? So this is the science. I know this is all over the place, but I thought that this was just so fascinating. It's so fascinating to me as an Aquarius sun. Oh, like now I get it. This has nothing to do with freaking, all the arguments about 50-50 and like this is science, y'all. Okay? If you would like for me to help you transition and transform your life as a woman, if you're stuck, you're stagnant, if you're looking for love, if you don't know why you have so many blocks when it comes to love, when it comes to your career, when it comes to your creative endeavors, abundance, money, whatever the case may be, if you're confused about life, I'm here as your transformation coach to help you navigate through life through the lens of transformation astrology and spirituality, okay? So I have a free discovery call link below. So click me and then make sure you follow me on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, okay, Azur's Astrology, or on Facebook, it's Azur David. So, all right, I love you so much. Bye.